Looks like the November election will be a case of deja vu, with former President Donald Trump taking on President Joe Biden. That's because Nikki Haley is expected to drop out of the race for the White House today. That's what sources are telling CBS News. She's expected to make that announcement in about an hour here. She is not expected to endorse former President Trump. Haley picked up just one win yesterday in Vermont. Trump and Biden both scored multiple victories in Republican and Democratic primaries, including here in California. Thanks for being here at 6 a.m., everyone, on this Wednesday. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Netta Irampour. Glad you're with us here as we get the latest election results to bring them to you live on our air here. We have all the major races covered, and we have team coverage for you. CBS 8's Chris Groh explaining why former Chula Vista Councilwoman Andrea Cardenas is still in the race this morning.
But we begin with CBS 8's Regina Yarita with the race for San Diego mayor and the latest in that. Regina.
Yeah, good morning, guys. And definitely all eyes are on this race, and we are far from over. But unofficial results have been coming since last night. So let's get to those numbers to show you where we're at so far, because you can actually see that Gloria is taking lead with nearly 51% of the votes. He's almost at 80,000 votes. Larry Turner taking second at 24% of that voter support. So actually, Turner is roughly 41,000 votes behind from Gloria. And coming in third so far is Genevieve Jones-Wright. She is at 14%. So the unofficial votes suggest that Gloria and Turner could face each other during the general election in November. Now, Larry Turner is a Marine. He's also a police officer here in the city of San Diego. This is his first political campaign race. Last month, there were questions about Turner's residency, but a judge ruled a lawsuit challenging that it wouldn't move forward unless Turner advances to November. Genevieve Jones-Wright, Daniel Schmiszowski, and Jane Glazen are also candidates running against Gloria. All of them have criticized the mayor for mismanagement of city funds and resources. So last night, we caught up with the mayor as unofficial results were coming in. He tells us if re-elected, he will continue to invest in city infrastructure, housing, and the safety of neighborhoods.
Tonight's results are an endorsement of continuing to do things that we have done together over the last 4 years. Pave more roads, house more homeless people, build more affordable homes for working and middle-class San Diegans, and keeping San Diego one of the safest big cities in this country. That is what we've endeavored to do under the most difficult of circumstances over the last 4 years. It is what we will continue to do when we get 4 more years this November.
And of course, we'll keep you guys updated as those unofficial results continue to come in. But certification actually happens on April 4th. So stick with CBS 8. Of course, all morning we'll be covering the mayor's race and where those candidates are leading as far as the general election in November. Netta and Eric.
All right, Regina, thank you. And this morning, ousted Chula Vista City Council member Andrea Cardenas is still in the running for the District 4 seat.
She resigned. You may recall, as we've been reporting this for a while, she resigned from the position last month after pleading guilty to felony counts. CBS 8's Chris Groh live in Chula Vista now to explain why she remains in the running here. Chris.
Good morning, and she remains in the running because she's currently in a tight third place here, and the top 2 vote getters will move on to that November general election. So let's talk about where things stand right now. Cesar Fernandez, a school teacher as well as school trustee, sits in first place with 1,126 of the votes. Rudy Ramirez, a businessman, sits in second with 1,015 of the votes, but in that third place, a former city council member for that same seat, Andrea Cardenas, who resigned, facing those criminal charges, eventually then pled guilty to 2 felony counts of grand theft, sitting there in third place with 930 votes, only 85 away from moving on to the general election. Now, as for everything that is going on right now, let's go back to what Cardenas actually pleaded guilty to. Part of that plea agreement says that she does have the chance to have that felony knocked down to a misdemeanor. It does not appear that they will be spending any type of time in jail, even if, again, they go through that sentencing. They are going to have to pay back restitution, not clear how much. If it's knocked down to a misdemeanor, if she moves on to the general election, yes, conceivably, technically, she could still go ahead and win that election and technically serve in that seat if that is something that she chooses to do. Now, when asked about that and the possibility, her attorney did say she's not exactly campaigning at the moment. However, she still is in third place. Now, the other thing, though, is that if her sentencing is not knocked down to a misdemeanor, City Council rules prohibit anybody who's convicted or pleads guilty of a felony from holding a seat. So obviously a lot of things are still in flux. She still remains in that third place. We're still waiting to see what the latest vote count will be here. When we get an update, that second place that gap has only gotten larger since the overnight reporting. So we'll have to see exactly how things shake up, but that is the technical possibility here. Eric and Netta?
I also find myself thinking a great deal of Senator Feinstein.
Those are protesters interrupting Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff last night. So he's there at the podium, and then there's people chanting in the crowd. They were calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Schiff and former pro baseball player and Republican Steve Garvey are the top two finishers in California's U.S. Senate races. There are two concurrent elections because of Senator Dianne Feinstein's death in September of last year. So the winner will hold the office from November to January. That would finish out Feinstein's term. Here are the results for that. As you see, Schiff and Garvey in the lead there, just 1 percentage point apart. And then whoever wins the regular election in November will then assume office for the full 6-year term that would be afterwards. So here are the results for that race. And again, it looks like it's Garvey now in the lead in that one, 35%, with Schiff at 31%. So 1.3 million of the votes going to Garvey, with about almost 1.2 million for Adam Schiff. Still pretty close. Eric?
All right, let's chat about Prop 1. This is a big one here, the $6 billion behavioral health services program and bond measure, which would make changes to the current Mental Health Services Act. Look how close this is. You can't get any closer. Split right down the middle, 50-50. There is 14,000 votes separating the yes right now, which is in the lead, out of the 3.6 million votes cast on Prop 1 here. Supporters say this will help build out voluntary housing and reprioritize resources for people with the most need. Opponents say it would do the opposite and divert funding from mental health resources to government-financed housing. Be sure to stay with CBS 8 for the latest on California's primary results. You can see how close some of these are. Still some numbers coming in here. Things still need to be certified. So we'll have all the updates on the races for you at cbs8.com/elections. We will also be checking in with our political analysts throughout this hour, so stay tuned right here. Let's get to our other top story here this morning. San Diego Unified School Board moving forward with major layoffs to help close a $94 million funding gap. More than 400 employees could be impacted by this, with layoff notices potentially coming here in a matter of days. The layoffs do include teachers, administrators, school bus drivers, and other staff. The Mandarin Resource teacher position is also in jeopardy.
I'm here again to ask you to please fund our Mandarin Resource teacher. We already lost a teacher earlier this year, and my class was the one to be eliminated.
Employees facing layoffs could be notified as soon as this Friday. Layoff notices are expected to be mailed out next week. Another big story, we are following the weather. Rain on the way, Netta.
Yes, rain is on the way for this afternoon. I know right now you're waking up, it's dry. Don't think you have much to worry about. The afternoon commute will be totally different. So just a heads up, take your umbrella with you or a raincoat. Pack the kids with one just so they don't get drenched later on. The rain will move in. It looks like right now about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon for North County, and then widespread right at that afternoon commute time, 5-6 o'clock. Winter weather advisory for the mountains overnight, and then we warm up and dry out. Friday on into next week is looking pretty nice. 49 degrees right now in Encinitas, 50 in Del Mar, 47 in Poway, 41 in Ramona. There's a little chill in the air, especially where those clouds have moved on. Some of you have cloudy skies, some not so much, and that's cooler for you. Where the rain is now, as you see over the ocean to the north. So you'll notice this will slowly get closer and closer to our friends in LA, and then eventually it'll work its way into North County and then through downtown, South Bay by 4, 5, 6 o'clock. That's kind of the time frame of when we'll see the activity pick up. Across the state, as you see, there's plenty of moisture coming through, some rain turning to mountain snow, another foot expected for the Tahoe Mountains. For us, we actually could get some snow as well. 64 in Poway today, 64 in Miramar, downtown at 66. Still want to maybe have a nice warm, cozy jacket, but with a hood would be advised. Let's show you the hourly forecast models here. This is now 2 o'clock. As you'll notice, it's starts to get across the 5 from Oceanside into Del Mar, and then by 4:35, darker greens, the yellows, some heavier activity possibly in this because of the thunderstorm possibilities. As we get the chances of thunderstorms, you might see a pretty strong cell coming through. Checking in on traffic, there is one crash right here. We're getting word of this in the Santee area. It looks like the 8 and 67 where it comes together. I don't see slowing from it yet, but we're working to get some information for you. Zooming into downtown, as you'll notice, it always starts to get busy around this time. 5 going northbound from Chula Vista. That's where it starts to get a little backed up. And now your border wait times from Customs and Border Protection at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. It takes 110 minutes right now to get through the port of entry into San Ysidro. At the Otay Mesa Port of Entry, it takes people 90 minutes right now. Eric?
All right, still ahead here, we have more on that breaking news about Nikki Haley as she's expected to drop out of the race for the White House. Our political analyst, Wendy Patrick, will be weighing in on this next.